Welcome to part one of the series on how to feel a feeling. One of the most common questions that I receive as a somatic practitioner, soma meaning body oriented, is how do I feel a feeling in my body? So, first of all, why is feeling a feeling important? It's important because what we suppress, the body will later express. What we resist will just persist. We are all emotional creatures. We all have what we call an emotional brain. And our emotional brain is known as our mammalian brain, it's our limbic system, and it's the midbrain. Now, when we suppress or avoid emotion or feeling, what often happens in that process is that our human thinking brain is interrupting the emotional process. Our human brain will conceptualize or intellectualize that it's not okay to feel that anger. It's not okay to express that fear or anxiety. It's not okay to be worried right now or to show vulnerability or weakness. We judge and rationalize and talk ourselves out of our feelings all the time. But what happens is, first of all, those emotions, those feelings, and the sensations that live within the emotional and the reptilian brain, this is where the nervous system operates from. When the nervous system goes into a state of fight, it operates from the subcortical part of the brain, the emotional mammalian brain and the reptilian survival brain. The language here is emotion, feeling, and sensation. And so when we go into a fight response, our nervous system inundates our body with the mobilizing hormones of adrenaline and cortisol. We feel certain sensations. Our body has certain impulses to tense. Our muscles contract. Our posture goes up. Our pupils dilate. We feel heat within our fingers, within our neck. There's tension in the jaw. There's a whole biological and physiological response that happens, right? This is the adrenaline and cortisol that is mobilizing us into a survival state of fight. Now, with that feeling comes the sensation, but also comes an emotion. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's frustration, maybe it's bitterness, maybe it's resentment. And that anger always has a purpose. That nervous system response always has a purpose. Now, when we don't allow ourselves or allow our nervous system to experience the emotion, sensation, and feeling of that response, then what happens is our nervous system gets stuck with that adrenaline and cortisol within our body and physiology. And our nervous system becomes stuck in what we call the stress response cycle. So now we're stuck with these fight hormones in us. And this is how we often turn into someone that we don't recognize, right? Because we have all this stuck in stored fight energy, then we start getting angry at everyone around us. We start to get angry at our kids, at our partner, at the world, and we don't recognize why. And the reason is because we didn't allow our nervous system to complete that experience back then. We didn't allow ourselves to feel that feeling. Now, it's important to note that our feelings can be processed and metabolized through the body and through our physiology in less than 90 seconds. However, that 90 seconds to some of us can feel like an eternity. It can feel life-threatening. Just in the same way that our digestive system knows how to digest food without our thinking brain or without our conscious effort, our body and our nervous system, our muscles, our viscera, our fascia, it also knows how to digest, metabolize, and process through feelings and emotions and sensations as well. It's just that we often interrupt that process by conceptualizing and interrupting and disrupting the completion of that feeling. And because we often haven't been taught how to be with our feelings, or we've been judged, shamed, blamed, or punished for our feelings, like when we were kids, then we might have this belief that it's not okay to express them. But unless we express them, they will just still sit within our system, which creates a chronic environment that is a breeding ground for mental, physical, and chronic health issues in adulthood. So, processing our feelings is the first step to nervous system regulation. to living a life where we can be with our feelings, we can move through the waves of it and come back through that threat response cycle and back to a place of regulation, which is where we're in a place of homeostasis, of calm, of presence, and of restoration. Now, a feeling is different than an emotion. And oftentimes, I think that people assume that they're the same, but they're not. So in our lesson, I'm going to walk you through 5 steps of how to feel a feeling. This is something that we call SIBAM. SIBAM is a common foundational term that we use in the somatic space to explore our feelings. SIBAM stands for sensation, image, behavior, affect, which is emotion, and meaning. So in our lesson, I'm going to walk you through all of the 5 elements, or what we call channels of SIBAM, and how to use those to explore your feelings.